Hi there, it's Nikki Coffin from Centred Excellence. Now, one of our clients, Niall, sent me an email last night asking a question about one of his recruiters, and I thought actually it'd be really useful to share this with everyone because you might find that it's very relevant in your business. So his email is, I sat down with one of the contracts members here who's been with us over 2 years last week. He's done some business this month, but he's struggling to see the wood from the trees and needs help. On the upside, he has a good attitude and is up for doing what needs to turn it around. Have you got any specific material or tips that I can refer to or send to me so I can put a plan in place for him and walk him through it? So, now there's several things that you can do with this scenario. It's very, very common, and I'm going to give you one tip today, and I'm also going to then follow that up with some other tips and techniques that you can use to get this team member back on track really quickly. So the first thing to know is it's human nature to cut corners, and one of the things that happens when you've got a really good person who's been doing really well, who goes off the rails or stops billing, normally it's just because they've started to stop doing specific things in their process. And the thing about this is it happens totally unconsciously, and it's human nature. And it's human nature because we try to do things more quickly, and so as we learn to become more expert at them, we start to cut corners. Now this is great, and it's also not great because what it means is they start to miss steps out of the process that actually mean their results go down. So there's 3 steps I would start with this person. So the first step always is to start with the end in mind. So ask him to get really specific about what he wants to happen instead. And it's really clear, it's really important with this outcome that you make it specific and also you make it positively framed. So he might say, well, I want to bill this month. So what specifically would you like to bill and by when? So he might say, I want to get 2 contractor jobs and I'd like to fill them both by the end of this month. So great, that's the start. So, and this tool I'd call like your success strategy tool. So the thing about this individual is he's been successful before, which means that he can just be successful again, but he's just maybe lost sight of what he was doing previously that gave him this success. So what you want to do is to get him to think of a specific time when actually things were working really well, where he was consistently getting 2 contractor jobs and filling them with ease or just in flow. And you want him to think of a specific time that this was happening. And if you can take him back to that time, so where were you sitting, what was happening, can you picture what you were seeing around you? And then what we want to do is to elicit his strategy for doing the job well. So you want him to then walk you step by step through what he was doing that created that success. So you might say to him, what was the first thing that you did in that scenario that helped you to get two contractor jobs? And then you're going to ask him open questions. And I'd ask him the question, what else were you doing? And how were you doing that? And what we're looking is getting really specific about their strategy. So we need to know literally step by step how they did it. So he might say, I did a daily plan, which I completed the night before. So I'd come into work and I'd literally start the day knowing exactly what I needed to do. I was really focused and had time when I was focused on doing business development or calling through leads or calling through my contacts, and I set time and I stuck to it. So you want to get to that level of detail, and what you'll be doing as the facilitator in this process is literally just writing down on a piece of paper the steps, and you just keep asking what else, and anything else that you did that created that level of success. And when you've got his strategy, what you want to then do is just to say, right, I want you to have a look at these steps that I've written down. So you'll have them written down on a piece of paper. And you say, right, which of these steps have you stopped doing? And there's normally just 1 or 2 things that they'll have cut out that if they can just put them back in again will make a big difference. So get them to notice what they've stopped doing, and then ask them, okay, so what do you then now need to start doing this week and then the next sort of 24 hours? What are some of the first steps that you need to take to move forward? And get them to get clear on some of the first steps. Okay, so when are you going to start that? I would also, if you can, set a time to review how's it gone. So when would be a good time for us to sit down to see how you've got on? And then off they go. The key is that they've got real clarity on exactly what they need to do when they get back to the desk. So you want, with the specific first step, so he might say, what I'm going to do is do an audit of my jobs, audit of my candidates, make a plan, and it just needs to be really specific. So that is one technique that I would use with your consultant that will help and get clarity on where he needs to be focusing. And I'll share with you some other techniques in a couple of days. So I hope that was helpful, and if you need anything else, or if you've got any comments, please post below on this post. Many thanks.